So recently we got a lot of new Roblox Demon Slayer game news. We got a new game that actually came out today called Demon Slayer Midnight Sun. We got Project Slayer's news because we got more showcases and more information. And we got a new game coming out in about a week called Wisteria 2, which is a sequel to a previous Demon Slayer game that a lot of people actually enjoyed, or at least some people. So I want to look at it and see what actually matters, see what y'all should really be looking forward to, you feel me? And what actually is going to define the future of Demon Slayer games on Roblox. So let's look at it. First I want to talk about the game that released today in Demon Slayer Midnight Sun. And honestly, the game isn't spectacular, but the game could definitely be worse in my opinion. First, let's look at the PvP, and the PvP is not deep open PvP. I keep seeing a lot of people say this, and it's because it does have a parry system, but Deep Open is not the only game to have a parry system. A lot of games have parry systems, and it is a lot different from Deep Open PvP in general. For example, this game has no knockback on the M1s, or at least little to none, because the players pretty much go nowhere when you hit them, and there is no M1 chain. For example, like you just spam M1, you could infinite M1. For those that don't understand what that means, compared to like block fruits where you could just keep M1ing forever and there's no actual animation, or kind of M1 cycle where you have like a 4 or 5 M1 animation like in Project Slayers or GPO for example, you could just keep going like DJ Khaled. Overall, the game's PvP is not too amazing or too crazy in general. It's still somewhat basic even with the parry system, but I definitely have seen way worse PvP on Roblox, so I'm not gonna hate on the PvP. It's actually pretty solid, especially for a game that I didn't even know was gonna release today. But now let's look at the game's PvE, and honestly the game's PvE isn't great either, which is a bigger deal in my opinion because I feel like more people care about PvE and progression than PvP. Like realistically for most players, PvE and progressing in the game is what players are going to be doing 90% of the time. Most people don't even care that much about PvP. But the progression is very basic. Pretty much imagine what you would see in pretty much any other Demon Slayer game on Roblox. It's pretty much the same thing, you know, your typical defeat this many demon quests. The only thing I like in the progression that I've seen so far is that you do progress pretty fast, at least from what I've seen. I haven't progressed through the whole game, and honestly I don't plan to, but from what I have seen, you do progress fast. You do the final selection very fast. You get your breathings relatively fast. It could get slower later on, but from what I have seen myself, it is pretty fast. The game also released with dungeons, which is something I really never see in games, because dungeons are a really good thing for games in general because they have replayable content built into them, which is something really good for games because replayable content is something for the players to play for longer periods of time, and it keeps the game alive for longer since players are on for longer playing something replayable, so they don't have to add as much, you know, new content to the game. Unfortunately though, the dungeons are not that good. They're still a plus overall because replayable content in games is always good in my opinion, but at the same time these are really basic and they're not that entertaining to watch or play. So honestly, I would not be that excited if you plan on playing this game for the dungeons. They're definitely not the worst thing in the world though. But overall, I'm having a hard time deciding if this game was made for straight cash or, you know, it's a straight cash grab game or not, because the game does have some unique things in my opinion. The game doesn't seem like literally the exact copy of another Demon Slayer game, which is usually what cash grab games do. But I have heard a lot of people compare the game to Demonfall, saying it's a Demonfall copy paste. But me personally, I haven't played Demonfall myself, so I'm not going to compare it to Demonfall since I actually don't know what Demonfall is like at all. But y'all tell me if it's really a copy paste of Demonfall or not. I'm really not sure. But the game does have your typical, you know, clan reroll systems and your typical cash grab Demon Slayer game mechanics, you know, reset breathing and whatnot. And honestly, this isn't the worst thing in the world. Obviously, pretty much every Demon Slayer game has it. And honestly, when I seen this originally and I seen the M1s, I thought, damn, maybe they're trying to make like the blocks fruits of Demon Slayer games. They made very basic M1s with, you know, no knockback and whatnot to make it easy for the players. But if this was their real goal, why would they add a parry system? That's more complicated. Kids don't like that. And the game is also not on mobile. If you were trying to make a block fruits type game, most of the players are on mobile. So honestly, I'm not really exactly sure what they were trying to do with this game. In my opinion, there are two scenarios here that are most likely. Scenario one is the game did just simply release for cash and is a cash grab, and they decided to release the game early to get ahead of Wisteria 2 and Project Slayers, since they will both be releasing very soon. If this was the case, I would also feel like it's very likely they were planning on adding mobile. The game does feel like it could run on mobile very easily, but they just maybe didn't because they didn't have time, because they saw Wisteria 2 was releasing very soon and Project Slayers was also getting an update, so they maybe rushed the game and weren't able to add mobile. And if this were the case, they're very vastly underrating mobile. That's like 80% of the Roblox player base, especially if they're trying to make their game similar to Blox Fruits. So I don't know how really likely this is. And scenario 2 is that the game developers of Midnight Sun genuinely believe that this game is good enough to have a long-term future on Roblox. They believe that the combat and PvE is good enough, and I honestly honestly just disagree if this is the case. The game is not anything terrible, I'm not gonna lie. I don't hate the game completely, but the game is just not good enough at anything specific, and generally that's what makes Roblox games perform long term. Either a game needs to look very good, or a game needs to have very good gameplay, and this game doesn't look that crazy good, and it doesn't play that crazy good. And if you're not good at either one of those, or very close at both, and I don't think this game is that either, the game is just not going to be that successful, and I think we're seeing that now as the game is not performing very well, especially on a release day. But now I want to look at that Project Slayers update, and it's honestly turning out to be a lot better than I personally expected. Initially, we got a snow showcase, which snow is not even a cannon breathing, so it made no sense, and they didn't even get creative with it. It looks trash, it looks like it's gonna feel like trash, and honestly, no one cares about it. But we did just get the sound showcase, which is something people actually care about. But the thing is, that's supposed to come in update 2. And we're supposed to be getting update 1.5, so I'm not exactly sure if this is going to be coming later, or if they're just going to skip update 1.5, which I honestly hope, because no one cares about update 1.5, just honestly skip it, focus on canon stuff, make an update 2, that's actually something that I feel like could have a chance of reviving the game. For those that don't know, I actually really like Project Slayers. I actually had a lot of fun on the game when it initially came out, but the game has not been doing very good since it hasn't gotten updated in a long time, and I honestly just hope they focus on adding a lot of content, and focus on adding canon stuff, because no one cares about stuff like snow breathing unless you're gonna really make it good to the point people care about it, and they just aren't doing that, at least from what they've shown us so far. But if sound breathing doesn't end up getting added this update, I don't even know why they're showing it to us, first of all, and second of all, the update is cooked. Like, come on, we need something good here, you feel me? Snow breathing is not enough. I'm sorry, snow breathing is not cutting it. But either way, the game's gonna need more than just breathings. It is gonna need some content, so I hope they were doing something during these 4 months. Last time in update 1, I feel like they did do a very good job. Honestly, they added probably more content than was in the initial game, so hopefully they're able to do something like that again. So overall for Project Slayers, if they are able to work hard and put together a solid update here, I do think the game will have a pretty easy time being able to maintain its status as the biggest Demon Slayer game on Roblox. The game already has the foundation, it just needs some solid additions to the game, and people will hop back on. The game got like 100k on the last update, and if the update is solid, if it's a 1.5 update, I don't expect it to perform that well, but if it is a solid update, I do expect it to reach somewhere similar numbers, maybe not 100k, but somewhere close in that sort of ballpark range. Now I want to talk about a game called Wisteria 2, which, like I said earlier, is a sequel to another Demon Slayer game that released a few years ago, which was called Wisteria. The trailer for Wisteria 2 is only 1 minute long, which is kind of unfortunate because we don't see that much gameplay of the actual game. We only see kind of camera shots, but the game graphically does look pretty solid. I can see a lot of people actually liking the graphics of this game. Now, gameplay on the other hand is a bit questionable because they didn't show very much in the trailer, but I have heard from some testers that the gameplay is actually pretty decent, so I'm not exactly sure. The game also says it's going to be having original stories and original characters, which means it sounds like at least it's going to be a custom story, so I'm not exactly sure if I might like that or not, because on one hand, if they're actually good at storytelling, that's going to be pretty cool, but on the other hand, it's not really going to feel like Demon Slayer the same way, I feel like, because it's not actual Demon Slayer story. You're going to be playing a custom story that they made, or at least that's what they made it sound like. Probably the best thing about this game is it's supposed to release in 5 days on the 22nd, but they did say it is possible that the game could get delayed, so I mean, I guess don't like count on it too much, but either way, the game's like a wild card for me. I could easily see it being a very good game. I could also easily seeing it being a very bad game. I'm really not sure. I haven't seen too much about it, so I guess we'll find out. I also want to apologize for not uploading in a minute. I've been very busy, and even right now I'm recording this very late. I'm on 1 HP. I'm tired, so if I sound tired in the video, or I'm not talking properly or something, that's my fault. I need to stop recording so late. That's on me, but I would appreciate if y'all subscribe if y'all enjoyed, and I'll keep y'all updated on everything about Roblox anime games specifically, and you know, everything on Roblox. So I'd appreciate it. Thank y'all. I love y'all. Later.